My dear friends, what comes to your mind when you hear under the table? Something negative, isn't it? Something unethical, some fraud, or something hanky panky happening. But today, what I'm going to talk to you about is under the table, but something very different. So, greetings, my dear friends. This is Vinay Srivastav. I am back with another episode of my podcast, Wincast. When we are negotiating, when we are talking to somebody and somebody is sitting on the other side of the table, we tend to see only their face because most of the times we are sitting very close to each other and we are only looking at their bodies above the shoulders. So we concentrate only on their facial expressions and we miss their movement, leg movement, their hand movement, and the other parts of the body. And when you communicate, even on chat, also you see emojis only have face or facial expressions. So, face is very, very highly overrated, and we tend to ignore the body. If we observe rightly, then all the parts of the body speak. We tend to concentrate only on the verbal communication and the face. So be very subtle while you are observing and evaluating a person. This is very helpful when you are taking an interview or while we are negotiating or you are interrogating. We forget the movements of legs, hands, torso, and other parts of the body which are below our shoulders. Sometimes we see people are chewing gum and they are touching their neck or they are playing with their hair. I've seen many people while they are in stress, they put a finger between their collar and their neck just to allow certain ventilation. This is when they are feeling extremely nervous. Under stress, sometimes people start whistling or talking to themselves awkwardly, or sometimes randomly they start speaking. Sometimes excessive yawning or hand clenching or clenching of the legs is also noticed. Feet and legs, they also communicate a lot, and I feel that the feet or the legs is the most honest part of the body, because while you can try to not depict what is going on inside your mind from your face or through your shoulders and hands, but your legs start moving. Whenever you get to hear certain good music, your feet will start dancing. Or whenever you hear some bad news, you will feel the heaviness in your legs. The way we the way we sit, the way we clench our legs, the way we extend our legs, they all communicate whether we are feeling very happy, whether we are feeling a bit nervous. Sometimes we see knees we see knees in one direction, or we see knees in different direction. They all indicate whether we are comfortable with that person or not. Sometimes when we are sitting, we take a lot of space. We sit with our legs and hands spread out, and sometimes we have cuddled ourselves. We also ignore the behavior of our torso. Sometimes we see that our hands or our legs are clenched and our hands are crossed towards the chest. Even when you are, if you notice the arms, there are people who have definite hand gestures and there are people who have vague hand gestures. There, you must have seen people who have got broad hand movement styles, broad hand movement gestures. So this all indicates whether there's a dominant behavior or a defensive behavior. Even the gestures, the way a person gestures, just tells about the softness of the person or the rashness of the person. Even when you see somebody comes and hugs you, so there are people who will come and hug you half body, in which only half of your body is just touching, or sometimes there's just a touch on one side of the body, and there are people when they hug you will you will feel the warmth of the hug, and they will tighten your hands around you. You will not feel that you are meeting that person after a long time. When you are shaking hands with somebody, sometimes you'll see a kind of loose gesture, or their hands are very loose, and sometimes people are very very firm while they are shaking their hands. Even finger cracking, when you see finger cracking, even that is a gesture of nervousness. The way we are touching our feet. Now, when we have to show the respect to somebody, we what we do, we say namaste in Indian tradition. So the way we clasp our hands, sometimes our hands are clasped and it is very close to our chest. Sometimes while clasping our hands and doing namaste, we are also bowing towards that person. Sometimes it's just a casual kind of gesture in which we pretend to put hands together, or sometimes we put our hands together and we put our hands above our heads, and we are waving the crowd, or we are doing namaste to hundreds and thousands of people. This also indicates the way you are greeting somebody. When you are touching the legs of your seniors or those whom you revere, sometimes you just lie down on the ground and do the, as we say in Hindi, Sashtang Dandvat Pranam. There are some times when we just go and touch their feet, both their feet, and there's sometimes where you will see a very casual behavior when we are just touching their kind of knees, or we are pretending to show our love to them, but it's just that we are very very casual in our approach. The way we put our hands in our pocket when we are speaking also indicates something. So, my dear friends, my today's episode was just to show you and tell you to notice all the body part movements and gestures around you, so that you are able to make sense of the communication which is being given by the other person, not only through their face but by all the other parts of the body. That's all for today. I'll be back with another episode soon. Thank you so much.